Did you still continue to film it?
Yeah, like from that.
Cool.
So like when you say, like someone says, you say I love you, but then the other person doesn't say it back. What's up with that?
So
what do you do from there?
I'm about to go deep. Y'all gotta tell me how you feel about this.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm probably with you.
Whether you love the person is not dependent on if that's reciprocated. If that makes sense. My mom loved me before I knew what love was, or before I knew how to talk. You know what I'm saying? My my girl told me she loved me first. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't say it back, but she didn't even blink. You know what I'm saying? And think about anything you love. I mean, like, if you love something, you just love it. It comes from inside of you. It's not something that comes from outside. It comes from inside of you. So that's already there, regardless of the factors around you. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's how I feel.
Well, I mean, like when that moment right then, what did you feel in your stomach when she said I love you?
I felt appreciated.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel. Yeah, I felt appreciated.
Okay.
So.
Have y'all ever been in a situation where somebody said I love you and you weren't feeling that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like with me, I never plan stuff out.
Like
I'm just a spur.
Did you laugh?
No, I didn't.
You giggled.
I do laugh in uncomfortable situations a lot, but like I'm always that type of person where like my emotions will expose me first, and my words will expose me first. Just I'm like such a writer, and like I don't even know what I'm gonna say sometimes, and it just comes out. So I'll be like, I love you, and then I'm like, okay, like bye, like because I didn't just kind of like didn't even realize that I felt that way until I said it out loud. Okay. That's how it's come about in like most of my romantic situations. And actually with my ex, we're still like really good friends, but like I said it first and they didn't say it back, and they were just like, oh well, I don't feel like that right now. And eventually they did grow to say it, but like I respected the person just because they didn't say it just to say, like honestly, if you feel a way, it shouldn't be influenced by how someone else feels. Absolutely. It's like getting a gift for somebody. Like you're getting them a gift because you want to see like that it's gonna make them smile or whatever. Like you're not getting a gift thinking, what are they gonna get me? And if that is the motive, then like you're not doing it in the right spirit.
Absolutely.
And there's stuff we love that's like inanimate objects. Like we love poetry, and it's never gonna love us back per se. So it's not crazy to me that you could just love something in a one-sided. It can get kind of deep with like toxic, like you may love some. I've definitely felt that before, where like maybe you love someone more deeply than they love you. Or they love you more deeply than you love them, and I've been in like both of those situations, and it's tough because it's like sometimes I feel like it can just balance out. Maybe there's a season where you love that person you're with a little more, and then there's a time where they love you more. But it's tricky. It's confusing. That's how we're doing the show.
You just made me think about it, because I think what the key is, it doesn't. If you love that person, they don't say it back. That don't matter. But you can't let it get to a point where you love them more than you love yourself.
Okay,
that's where the toxic thing really comes in. Because if you love somebody more than you love yourself, now you compromising. You know what I'm saying? In a way that you shouldn't.
So when was the last time that you felt yourself? You were in lust.
Yeah.
But you thought you were in love.
I mean, a couple of years ago.
Okay,
you know what I'm
speak
saying?
on it.
Just talking. You going out your way.
He's getting on the hot seat.
You know what I'm saying? Like
what?
And it just turns out to be infatuation. But like, it's just like. I remember this girl, like, because I was trying to talk to her or whatever, like, she had got her,
Nah,
she had got, like, her tonsils taken out or whatever, so I was trying to be sweet, you know what I'm saying? I was trying to get her some flowers sent over to her house. I got her friends to coordinate it, so they got delivered to her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just trying to go out your way and just do it, come up with creative ways, and then you find out, like, boom, I'm not really thinking of you like that, you know what I'm saying? So it just don't happen, you know what I mean? So it's like, dang, I've been chasing after this, something that can't happen. So it's just like, I just gotta love myself more.
You just dropped. Do you fade away? Hold on. Do you fade?
Do you just drop her, or do you fade away?
Do y'all know the fade away? The step back.
I do. I master.
Do you fade away? Do you close the situation?
I mastered the fade away, but it's usually the other way around. It's my fault.
You mastered the fade.
I feel like I took the L for past being the L girl. Like,
it depends. It depends. Like. I feel like when you're really, like he's the fade away. I used to play basketball.
I feel like I'm with some master fade. I'm like with some Kobe's right here.
sometimes you do have to close the chapter for your own like sanity and health.
Absolutely.
That's just real. Because like you were saying in the past, I feel like he's over here doing the fadeaway motion in the background, y'all. Let's kill him.
Shout out to the audience.
With like being in the 21st century though, it's very different from when our parents dated or like beyond that.
Absolutely.
Like, so if our parents broke up, you may not run into that person again, and maybe you run into them in person. But like now with social media, it's like you can be in your bed, you can see someone on Facebook, Instagram. So even when people are like, oh, it's childish to block someone, I don't always do this, but I don't really think it depends what spirit you're doing it in, but I don't think it's always childish, because it is kind of like, if you're looking at social media every day and like you're exposed to it, it's gonna be like seeing that person every day and still having them be a part of your life. So sometimes you may have to hide them. It doesn't have to be something petty, but like you do have to take that step back for healing. For me personally, I have to go back.
I like petty.
I have to go back into myself if something really got to me, like just to build back my own like self. Oh hey, like you're still Mariah, and you're still doing all your things, and like you were whole before you came into this. And sometimes you can be whole and then come into something and then leave like feeling like you're not whole anymore. So you need to like get back into feeling like yourself again. So I do feel like sometimes I fade back completely. Like I will sometimes block people's numbers and stuff like that, but that's not just romantic. Like I've blocked my own mom's number, and it's not on some shady stuff, but it's like when I have to focus and I have to get that tunnel vision. It may be like, oh, I have a project due at this time, and I just have to block.
Well, first off, you have the iPhone.
Yes.
You know there's a do not disturb.
I know. But like do not disturb. Sometimes when I put it on, it doesn't work. I have a ghetto iPhone, y'all. But like when I say block my mom, I mean for like a couple hours while you're getting something done. Like, and it was like she knew she could still contact me.
Well,
you're gonna be
now I sound like a savage, but like I'm just saying, if you have to get something done, like I have to like I'll delete all my apps, even if it's not me deleting my account. But I'll just be like, all right, let me delete Facebook, Instagram, all the because I have stuff to get done over the next 2 days. I'll download it again as my treat. Like once all this stuff is done. That's just me.
You're gonna have a lot of success in life with that attitude because you're willing to.
He's over here in my corner, man.
You're gonna
always bring it back home.
The ability to cut out distractions, to focus on what you need to focus on, is something that's not that common. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a society where everything's trying to distract you. So.
And it's more, I feel like it says more about you than the other person. For me personally, like, it doesn't mean that, like, my mom was going to be blowing me up, but I know that, like, I would be blowing her up. And now, like, I know that I can't get caught up in a conversation through text with somebody or, like, start scrolling. I know what my tendencies are. So I'm trying to get myself in a good space to where I can be productive. But I had a question for.
That's what we're here for.
The tables have turned.
The tables have turned. I'm like, he's lighting me up, so I gotta come back.
I'm just curious.
Okay, this is something I've noticed. Like, it's pervasive in the poet community, y'all. Okay. So, have you ever like had a poem that was like romantic? And it was written for one person, but then you like performed it for another person.
No, I'm real talk right there. You know what? Okay.
This seems like a fadeaway.
You already started off like.
No, because every girl, not every girl, but most women I speak to, they ask me that question right there. That is the number one question right there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you like I tell them, that is the corniest and phoniest thing ever. Real talk. That poem I do right there called Forever Love. I wrote that, I was in another space.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to you now, I'm not right. You should motivate me to write my own piece to you.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. If you don't motivate me, I've had people I talk to, you don't motivate me to write anything. I'm not gonna say anything, do any poetry for you. That's that.
No, I think we've all been there as writers though, to where.
Right, I had one person motivate me to write 5 pieces. That was for that person. Yeah. I can't use it, just feels whack.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna use that now.
I'm glad you said that.
But it just feels nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like using the same sheets or something. I don't know.
Using the same sheets, using the same...
It's literally sheets of paper. Oh, man. That's gotta be a line
later. That's a line,
yeah. Like, no, I'm glad you said that because I feel the same way. Like, I'll try to see if I can find it later, but I had a piece where it was like, I don't like telling people my poetry is about them because then I feel like they're gonna, like, take ownership for that piece. And it's kind of like, yeah, you inspired this, but then, like, in my mind, I create...
that's wild.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's
it's
my
just,
piece right there.
Like, but... Like, they just kind of feel like an entitlement to it. And it's like, yes, you sparked this memory. But for me, it's like, maybe I start writing about one person's smile, and then I just start thinking about something else, and someone else's body part might be in that same piece.
True.
And it's not shady, it's just like the finished piece came to be
together.
a Frankenstein type mix up. Frankenstein's a bad thing, but like, I don't know, a bouquet of different types of stuff all come into one thing. And there's also been people who like, I was talking to friends of mine actually this past weekend, and they were just telling me, we have a friend who he always will like plot on girls, and he'll like literally
I was about to ask that. Yeah.
He'll send me a message, he'll be like, she got brown hair, blue eyes, like she's 6'2", write something for me like that fits this MO. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I used to help sometimes, but like, he would just always like spit poems like that just to kind of like get at girls and stuff. But then they were like, you're kind of the reverse of him, because like after relationships, like that's my kind of therapy and venting. Like I'll just kind of write a piece sometimes after a relationship.
Yeah. Do you write it in that moment? Because I know for me, it's kind of funny. Like I may leave a situationship and I don't write it.
Situationship. He had to correct himself.
I ain't been in a relationship about 3 years.
I'm gonna keep doing the fadeaway.
But no, situationship. It'd be like months later till I actually get to that thought.
No, yeah, when you process it all through.
When I process it, because in that moment I'm like, I move on full. Yeah. Like I feel like when I sit down and I write it, I don't know, I got to accept all that right then. So and it may be something I have to grow through rather, but I just move on from it. And then like months later, I'm like, it just starts coming out. I don't know, do y'all go through that?
I definitely do.
Yeah. But sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I almost procrastinate on what I know I should write about. Like sometimes it's something
that's a thing. Yeah. Like you just don't want to face it.
Yep.
You don't want to face it.
What's the so like you may have an idea in your head. Yeah. Just like
it'll be like the idea come to me and it's like, dang, for what it takes to get that piece to what it needs to be.
I think that happens all.
And it takes a lot out of you. Have you ever written and been exhausted afterwards?
No, but the whole reason you think that is because you know that piece has to be great. You know with that, you can't just play around with those stanzas.
Absolutely.
Like line for line has to go hard. Yeah. So it's like and then sometimes I don't know if y'all been this. I've been where you at, and it never even creates itself. Yeah. It's like the idea was there to create that piece. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying. What piece I'm thinking of. Excuse me, it's like, so I have a piece that took forever to write. It was about like my longest relationship that I've ever had.
How long was that?
It was a year. So like, stop. This is hard in the middle though, because I feel like we're all like all over the spectrum. Like situationship, fully committed relationship, like.
Yeah,
I'm like the yellow light.
That's the age of maturity, right there.
Yeah.
No, it definitely all of them are like different stages, and like it's perfectly fine to be in any of them.
Absolutely.
But like for me, like that year-long situation. So basically, I ended up writing a piece called "Tips on Dating the Town Drunk's Daughter," and it was just like I won't get into the whole piece, but it was about how basically. Comparing her to alcohol and just comparing, like, just even saying like the hourglass shape of her body, saying like, is this filled with poison and toxins, is this good for me? And then at the end it was like, and I still don't know if this poem is about the last woman I loved or how alcohol has become my latest mistress and I can't give her up. And it was just kind of like, I was going out a lot, I guess, to deal with that relationship. And I don't think I was like falling into alcoholism at all, but like it was just kind of like this was becoming a vice because I was like not trying to face my emotions. And then that other entendre that went with that piece was like her father was also like an alcoholic. Okay. So this kind of was just like, it was that space of like she didn't really know what a functioning relationship was because like her mom and dad were still together, but it's like the mom was still enabling the dad to drink. Yeah. So she didn't have like a good example of what we should have been anyway. Okay. So it's just kind of like, how do you like grow to love a person that doesn't have a good example to begin with?
You need to put this piece online.
I do need to put it on. I actually have a recording of it, but it hasn't come out yet. But I'm trying to put it on my YouTube page. But like it basically just made me even go, wow, like I was thinking all this, but it was just kind of all the things like you kind of repressing your mind just coming out onto the page. And I don't know, it was like, wow. And you can't, pieces like that, I feel like you can't tell people sometimes that they inspired that because it was no type of insult. It was just for me processing. But it's like I could see how you maybe could take it the wrong way because maybe it would seem like, okay, I'm like putting your family's business out, or you just, I don't know.
But okay, so let's talk about that right there. And have you ever name dropped?
Never. But I never really wrote no like diss piece or nothing like that.
But that had to be a diss. It could just be an honest piece.
But I've never performed something that was about a person. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah. Wow.
There's only been
like you just give it to them, but like you don't actually.
I don't even give it to them. I just write it.
You just write it for yourself.
Wow. So you've never performed anything that was about a person.
I feel like his wedding has to be like, we're actually doing this for the person. We'll be like, that's how we know. Like this.
I'm gonna peel into you. We're gonna find out more.
But we celebrating Mariah, you know what I'm saying?
No, I'm enjoying it. Look, bro, I'm trying to put the spotlight back.
Nah, but have you name dropped? Cause you like, what about?
Oh my gosh! I have like the angel and the devil on my shoulder. No.
Why you put Rodney out like that?
Why you gotta be Rodney?
Right.
I don't think that I've never name dropped. I've never name dropped. But what I have done is like performed a piece that was like, F who I thought you were, and like they were in the audience. I was definitely like, look at them.
Did you look at them?
I did, and they were like, oh, is this about me? And I was like, you and a couple others, like, and just had to keep it 100 with them. They were also a poet. I feel like also as a poet, I don't know if I would ever date a poet again because it's intense. Just because you're always like writing back and forth and like everything is so like deep. Like it's amazing, but it's passionate and you have to like put all your energy into it.
You gotta like break that down, dating a poet. Because I've never dated a poet.
I was looking at you like, but it can be amazing though. But like I just feel like it's just a lot because you know you have all these feelings and emotions and like most people aren't as deep and aren't gonna have conversations or like write about everything they're feeling like we do. So it's like it would always be like every other day like a new piece, like us sharing pieces and stuff. So the breakup came out into pieces.
Oh.
So like it was just kind of like okay. No one like was named, but it was definitely like they could tell. Like I feel like when you put little, you know how you weave little things into your pieces, they're not even for the audience, but it's just for you, and it's like, oh, this is a play on words, but they don't even know.
No. I have a
like
piece
that person could pick up.
I have a piece like that, and honestly, just because of the way it flowed, I spelled the person's name out. You know, in the way.
So he name dropped. That's how he wanted to say
I don't know if that's a name drop. I spelled it out.
That's a name drop. He was like, it was clues.
I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
But it was the way it flowed. I had to spell it out.
The piece was like A, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
L.
Exactly. Yeah, I had to spell it out. And it's just funny. Like when people come and like, it's always funny when they come and question you about the person.
And you'd be like.
But honestly, dissing that person, it was just me talking about
it's also like your job. Yeah.
That person.
Yeah. And also it's kind of like, I feel like people, you know when you're dating a poet, you already know I'm a poet. Like, it's not to say you're going to be put out in my pieces, but like, this is just my artistry and like,
it's like you dating
It's who I am.
Like a woman dates Drake.
Yeah, like you might get a verse for him.
Yeah, and the title of a song. Yeah. So, I mean...
Which I feel like, for me, have you ever been the subject of a poem? Have either of y'all?
Not something that's been performed.
Okay.
Like that.
I've never been a subject of someone who performed it except like a writing workshop. So I used to be in Word of Mouth, another shameless plug. But it's like a spoken word poetry team for ECU. But anyway, we used to have workshops. And there was a time where we had a workshop where you had to write a poem about someone else in the group.
Okay.
So someone was assigned to me.
Like
it was really dope. I honestly miss it because being around writers and just taking 2 hours of our time to do writing sessions really like just made me try different exercises. But so someone was assigned to me.
You didn't have one in Charlotte, right?
No.
Writers workshop. Yeah, every Wednesday.
Like this past Wednesday.
Okay, so it's actually a workshop also.
A Poet Superman, he does it. So yeah, it's like it's exactly what you're talking about. So.
Okay, dope. Yeah, like I love going to stuff like that. Yeah. It's amazing, and I'm trying to like get them going again because I really enjoy it. But yeah, like so someone performed their piece at the end of that workshop that was about me, and it was actually really cool. Like there was parts about it that I wouldn't say are unflattering, but I feel like poetry is just honest. So it's gonna point out like your strengths and your flaws. And I honestly still, that's one of my favorite pieces. Like I still have it saved on my phone.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just cool that like someone can
do you have, okay, because you said favorite pieces. Well, you answered, do you have a favorite piece?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody's got that.
I can't think of one.
Yeah.
It's with poetry. It's hard for me to put like one above.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like,
because
oh,
I ask
that.
myself that all the time. What's my
Do you have a favorite piece that you love to perform though?
Oh yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one?
Like a default. I feel like you have that like.
I think everybody has a default, right?
Yeah.
I got this poem called Lynch Mob that I love to perform because it's the
Yeah.
first one I performed in front of a group and seeing the impact that my words could have. You know what I'm saying?
And people really
were like,
resonated.
yeah. So I was just like,
Can we get that reaction like one more time?
so I was like, okay, this is something. You know what I mean? So that was the first. So I like performing that joint.
Word.
What about you? Do you have a piece?
That is like my default.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I did for like last year I had a default, but this year I've been practicing on myself writing so much and then memorizing so much that I have a new default. Like every month I got.
That's dope.
I got this
that
one.
means
No,
you're growing. Like I need to get like you.
I may do this one coming up.
Okay.
But I feel like when you challenge yourself, like I've been doing, like I sometimes, if y'all ever have time, I know we always on the go, but like lyrical exercises with each other, texting.
Oh
back.
my gosh, let's do a group
Yeah,
text.
exactly. Like lyrical exercise.
I'm gonna let you know if they like fade away and they fall back when I try to text.
But I'm saying like that stuff right there keeps you on your toes. Like you,
That's so true.
if you come up with a new default every 3 months. Wow. Then it's like
you're really gonna have to especially with doing poetry competitions out here. Your catalog exactly.
That's why I think like, oh, okay.
Cause like, how many poems do you like keep memorized at a time? I always love asking people that.
Well, I know for myself right now, I'm really impressed with myself right now. I got at least about 8 in my head.
That's what's up.
I got 8 in my head and I'm ready to just give.
That's dope, man.
Yeah. I'm about an 8, but like it's just been like over the years 8. So it's I want to get a fresh,
gotcha.
Just because I feel like those are so ingrained. I could get like a fresh batch and be like.
But you know the beauty,
but
the beauty of that right there is that you feel like it's ingrained, but you can change the story by keeping the words. Like it can become new every time.
Do different theatrical things and just go to new audiences too.
Exactly.
Is always
that's what I think about too. Like I think about how I gotta have something new because I feel like that make me. Like exciting to the people when they see, oh, you got something new.
Yeah,
like, it's not the same.
Yeah,
even though that poem you did last time was fire, you got something else new and something else new. Something we want to hear that. Nah, I got something else. It just keeps people on their toes like
exactly.
that. So
that's very
for
true.
you, if like you're gonna see like your favorite poet or performer or whatever, is it like you like to hear that classic poem or do you like to hear something new? Because I always like struggle with that too. Because it's like if I hear my favorite singer, so like I just saw like Indie Irie like about a week, like that's one of my faves. So and Mary J. So I was just like, oh, this is crazy. Yeah. But like I would love to do them to do the songs that I always play on repeat. You know what I mean? Like I don't really want to hear their new stuff.
Oh wow.
But like so I always wonder if people like if audience members feel that way about poetry. Even with like poets, whenever I've been in collectives, there's always favorites I have, and I'm like I can say the lines with them, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But new pieces are exciting too. So I'm always like, where's that balance? Like whenever you feature stuff.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I like a mix, man. It's like
you know
what I'm saying? It's like anything. You gotta have like a
balance.
It's like a balance.
And see, I think that's the same thing what you're saying right there about balance.
Yeah.
It's like we talking about love. We're talking about lust. We're talking about our relationship, but it's a balance. You can be in lust and be in love at the same time. But it's
gosh.
No. Let me explain that. If the person, if it's a reciprocal, that energy back, you lust that person. Lust is the desire right there. So we can lust that. And I think what you're saying is that balance. And just like to, I guess we wrap things up.
Yeah.
Just wrap it up then. You know?
Wrap it up.
Shout out egos.
Yeah, exactly. Wrap it up then. But no, like I think y'all presented so many like just points that was so. I hope people just like write them down. Like just think about everything we saying. Like think about the things you're saying. Listen to your poem. Fuck butterflies. Well, what's the name of your piece?
It was called Queen. Now it's called Goddess. So
Goddess. A queen to a goddess.
You know what I'm saying?
What's a queen?
You know what? I just see what you did, bro. That was amazing because I feel like everybody's talking points represented what they where they came from with their poetry, or maybe it's you know what I'm saying, came from a genuine place and they just spoke on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So what do people follow you?
So people can follow me on. You can check my website out, romeshouse.com. You know what I'm saying? ROMES Rome DeCarlo at every social media thing. That's Rome like the city. ROMEDCARLO.
And you have to give the signs.
You know what
I'm saying like
I feel like I'm beyond your. No, it's Beyond Your Definition on YouTube and also on Instagram and Facebook. It's Mariah Barber the Poet, and I started the company actually just filed the paperwork today, Beyond Your Definition, and it's just going to be speaking engagements, writing workshops, of course poetry features, and of course we're going to have merch like the book. So be on the lookout for new stuff. The book is called Of Makes and Pins and Gods and Other College Courses, again on Amazon.
Okay, we're going to need like a footnotes for all these.
We like tag.
I mean,
but like link it.
Exactly. All right, now once again I go by name Poetic Lee and POETICLEE, and this has been Poetically Correct, right?
Yes. Peace.
Heaven, you know I love you.